Thank you. Deputy Mattie McGrath.
Count Coghlan, I want to ask the Minister, under the common arrangements for gas bill, which is proposed, with a number of proposed gas pieces of legislation coming forward, the whole situation regarding on board gas and transfer of their works to a company called Balfour Beatty, and the shameful treatment of subcontractors and their employees.
No, we don't go into that.
No, I mean, it's happening at the moment.
We don't deal with treatment of subcontractors.
Yes, but it's a whole breach of faith with
then put down the parliamentary question.
With the good workers.
The gas bill. It's a gas bill.
Count Coghlan and Deputy, that the matter will be agreed later this year, but the heads haven't been cleared yet.
Thank you. Deputy Durkin.
I want to ask about Balfour Beatty, who's under contract to your company. And I have been raising this for quite considerable time in the House here regarding the past record of Balfour Beatty. And in particular in relation to the Section 3.9 of the Guidelines of Public Procurement, which states that candidates or tenders who have a conviction of involvement in organised crime, fraud, corruption, money laundering must be excluded from performing a public contract. And this is Article 45, personal situation, the candidates coming through the EU directive and so forth. And I have before me here a list of convictions in relation to Balfour Beatty. In 1997, they were fined 1.2 million for the collapse of a tunnel in Heathrow, which they built. In 1999, they were fined half a million sterling after a train derailed on a section of the line. 2006, 7.5 million after the train crash, which cost 4 lives and 100 injured in sections of the line they had maintained. 2007, fined 180,000 after fatal intrusion on one of their line maintenance workers. 2008, they were fined 2.25 million after serious fraud found them guilty of false accounting. And in 2009, they were fined 5.2 million at the Office of Fair Trading for corrupt practices in securing construction contracts. There's some of the track record of this company. Are you satisfied from a safety point of view? And I was very impressed with number 10 there, which safety is a core value for the company and is central to all B&G activities. That Balfour Beatty are effectively employed by you. And
just finally, I'll just hand over to my colleague Mr. Casey to deal with the particular issues you've raised about Balfour Beatty. But can I say that you know, this is a major contract for us as a company. Traditionally, we had a multi-contractor model going back many years, sometimes as many as 5 contractors. And I think it's important to point out that when we talk about Balfour Beatty, there's a second part of that company, which is an Indigenous Irish company called CLG, and it's a 50-50 joint venture. So much of the discussion has been around Balfour Beatty, but it actually is a JV, 50-50 with CLG, and CLG have been one of our contractors for many years, and we know them well. You asked the question in relation to, the question was asked about, you know, are we satisfied as to their safety record and as to their safety performance? I can say that their safety performance to date, since the contract has been enacted, we are very satisfied with. We monitor it very closely, and we also report through our safety case with the Commission, who are responsible for safety in this area, quarterly statistics. So we monitor their performance very closely, and those performances are tied into the performance of the contract. Now I just hand to Mr. Casey to deal with some of the specific issues you raised.
Thanks, John. I suppose, as John rightly says, health and safety has and will always be our number one priority, given the industry we operate in. And it was a key consideration, primary consideration in the award of the contract that you refer to. As John pointed out, the contract was awarded to a joint venture between Balfour Beatty, a UK-based utility company, and CLG Developments, a company that had a relationship with Bord Gáis Networks for a number of years and a very good safety track record. In relation to Balfour Beatty and the award of the contract, Balfour Beatty CLG clearly demonstrated their ability to meet our requirements, our safety requirements, through the whole process. The process I referred to was conducted in accordance with EU procurement directive. Right through the whole process, safety was a key consideration of that. In terms of Balfour Beatty, I think it's important we assessed the safety performance of all bidders in relation to the contract, both all parties to joint ventures, etc. And while there have been incidents in Balfour Beatty's history, Balfour Beatty's safety performance has to be set against the scale of Balfour Beatty, the countries they operate in, and essentially the man-hours in which they construct and operate every year. And when you roll all these back in terms of a performance, Balfour Beatty's safety performance is actually better than the UK and the Irish construction industry average. So yes, there has been incidents in the past, but their performance overall, and these are regrettable, their performance overall is better than the UK and Irish industry construction average. So in terms of some of the other incidents you refer to, we, in the process, which is, as I said, governed by EU procurement law, we would have taken legal advice right throughout the process in terms of examination of bidders' bids and whether any need to be excluded at any point in time. And the legal advice throughout that was there was no grounds for exclusion of any bidder. So in summary, we were more than satisfied in terms of the safety proposals put forward by Balfour Beatty and CLG, as John pointed out. The performance to date has been extremely positive, better and ahead of some of the safety stats we would have had heretofore. And again, I'd repeat that health and safety is a key concern, a top priority of ours in terms of awarding that contract.
Gáis? Yeah, I'd like to come back. You know, you have guidelines, the public procurement guidelines, saying the tenders who've been convicted of involvement in organised crime, fraud, corruption, money laundering will be excluded. Now you have, we'll just stick for the, let's say, them found guilty of false accounting and guilty corrupt practices in securing construction contracts. Now these are two, like, if you leaving aside the safety record and the size of the scale of the organisation itself, but being found guilty of false accounting and found guilty of corrupt practices in securing construction contracts. Now, are you satisfied that a member of the board was chairperson of the subcommittee that awarded a contract to Balfour Beatty? You know, like there's an awful lot of concern in relation to this. A pity that Deputy McGrath's not here because there's a problem down in Tipperary, again as a consequence of what's happening regarding workers who were displaced as a consequence of it. And again, like, we either have guidelines or we don't have guidelines. If you have guidelines and if you don't adhere to the guidelines, in particular, like corrupt practices in securing contracts and found guilty of false accounting, notwithstanding all the others, there are 4 lives lost and 100 injured, there's section 1 line in the UK, false person fatally electrocuted, collapse of a tunnel, all of those on their watch. And I think it goes against the Directive 204/18 EU, Article 45. It goes against when you look at the criteria that's laid out there. You know that this company had been awarded. And can I ask a final question? Is this currently is there a current case pending before the courts regarding Balfour Beatty in this jurisdiction?
Just for the record, Chairman, the issue of the Chairman of the Investment Infrastructure Committee, you know, absented himself at all times during the course of the award of this contract, and that has been clarified. I just want to put that on the record. Absolutely absented himself and took no hand, act or part in the award of the contract, and that's a matter of record. I'm not aware of a current situation before the courts of Balfour Beatty. I'm personally not aware of it. The Deputy has. We'd like to hear the information. The other point I would make is that as Mr. Casey's pointed out, at all times and each and every occasion, some of these issues were put to us. We sought and took legal advice to the extent that there was no basis for excluding any of the tenders or that particular tender from the process, and we relied on that legal advice to proceed at all times.
Yeah, well, I think they have, you know, answered their queries.
Just for me to conclude here, like, there is convictions over those that, in my opinion, and the opinion of anybody that's reading it, that makes them not eligible to be compliant with the procurement, the guidelines for public procurement.
Okay, but in fairness, I suppose they have covered it legally and they've checked everything. Did you want to comment? Oh no? Okay. So, if everybody is happy, I thank the members that stayed, and I thank you for coming in. and given a very good overview of everything your operation you carry out in your operation. I just say maybe whatever outstanding issues that were raised, that you would return to the committee as soon as possible.
We'll revert to the committee on the issues that have been raised, certainly, yes. Yeah.
In writing or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. And I thank you for your attendance.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Right. Members, if there's nothing else, we can adjourn the meeting until next week. Is that okay with you? Thank you very much, and thank you for your attendance.